Well, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Life Between the Volleys. I about screwed that up. It's been a long day and a long night, and I'm trying to figure out my audio. There we go. I'm trying to figure out how loud I am because I got kids in bed. I got kids trying to go to sleep, and we're in the house tonight because it's pouring the rain outside. It's pouring the rain here. It was a while ago, and it's cold, and the garage is full of tomatoes, so we're choosing to be inside podcasters tonight. Still waiting on our table to be built. Clark, get to work. But welcome back to kind of going to be the first episode ever. I'm getting ready to shoot a text over to our guest tonight and tell him we're about ready. And it's going to kind of go over where the name of this podcast come from, the inspiration, the guys who kind of like coined the phrase as I heard it, and kind of really spoke to me because it kind of made me think about this season a little more, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So I want to shoot a text on over to our guy. And we're gonna get ready to go. See if I can not screw this up. Okay, because I probably would screw this up. His name brought up there, and okay, man, I need a mouse. That's what I need to get. I need to get a mouse. This is like easier. Man, I feel like there's a little echo in here tonight. I don't know what it is. He's getting ready right now, and we're gonna kick this off. It's gonna be a fun one. Should be fun introducing the man. I'm debating, should I do his introduction and let him hear it back? Nah, I won't do that to him. So as soon as he says he's ready. But this is going to be a series that hopefully we're going to take off with right now. We're kind of getting leveled back out. We had the flu. Everyone in the house did, so that kind of slowed up everything. But okay. But I'm excited. I actually am excited because probably one of my most favorite people to talk to. And we're going to talk about duck hunting. So that's another awesome thing. We're going to talk about my new little toys I got the other day from NWTF that showed up. So, and he is ready. So, FaceTime. Let's flip over to here. We go to here. Oh, there he is.
What's up? Wow, your lighting is way better than mine.
Oh, wait a second. Why is it not popping up, the podcast? Why? I suck at this. I hate, like, sometimes I see your video. Why is the video not there? Oh, it's because I have to do this. Give me a second. Well, that's because I've spent, you don't even want to know how much money and lighting's in this room right now.
You might have to give me a turnaround so I can see what you've got, because we're trying to do lighting for our podcast now.
Honestly, okay, we'll talk, because the lights right now are for sale in this room.
Oh, okay.
I just packed up. The ones I just packed up, you guys don't want. I mean, they're super, super nice, but they're, let's see, does that fix it? No. Oh my gosh.
Wow, that changed everything.
Did it really? What it changed when?
What? Your picture.
Oh, did it? Did it make it better or worse?
I liked the other better. Your angle changed and everything is whiter now.
Oh,
you lost all the dark.
Oh, so I totally did the wrong thing. Hold on a second. Let me fix that. Oh no, USB video. I'm in the wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
You look like you're in two totally different rooms.
Well, yeah, it does that frazzling, like, oh man, I hate, like, why is this video not popping up?
Is it something on my end? Have I done something?
No, it's my end. Gosh. It for some reason, like, it won't hold. Okay. There we go. Now it's going to fix itself. There we go. Okay, there it fixed itself. Yeah, like, I have to refine the camera every time. So, like,
I gotcha.
For some reason, it's dumb. No, yeah, there's 2 lights right now actually. They're for sale cheap.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
actually,
I'm more impressed right now that like the way you changed the angle or whatever you did. Like I guess if you've got 2 cameras or something.
no, so
It
the first camera is my nice camera, like what Matt has, and then the other
this
cameras.
this is good. This is very good. Like I was impressed. I noticed the quality as soon as like I got on. And then when you switched it a second ago, I was like, okay, that looks like my camera or like my angle right now. Like
yeah,
I'm kind of looking up and everything is bright and white and it wasn't the same.
Yeah, well, that's the at NWTF I ran into the Heartland Waterfowl guys, and it's kind of changed my perspective a bunch.
Okay.
We talked about, like, I got talking to him, and like I got talking to one of their camera guys that was there, Dakota Third, and he was carrying around a Red. If you know what a Red camera is, they're like $25,000 cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, why do you have that thing in here? Like, someone steps on, like, it's just sitting on the ground behind a booth. I'm like, if someone steps on that or someone picks up and walks away with that, I was like, I would cry. And he made the phrase, he's like, dude, you can't leave the Ferrari set in the garage. And I was like,
it's very true.
I was like, well, and ever since then, I've tried to travel more with my nicer camera, and I try to use it all the time. And that's so, instead of using my crappy MacBook camera, I've got that one set up. And I actually have another camera, and I think I have one more port, and I could set up 2 angles, but we got to get that figured out first. It involves another cable, some switching buttons. Yeah, you guys actually, I think you guys still have your original board, don't you? That you're podcasting with? Yeah, I'm sending mine back, and I have bought the new one.
Oh, really?
May want to look into it. It is quite nice. It adds it adds a ton of features. Tell Matt to look at it. He'll understand all the.
Yeah, he will. I won't. I this tech stuff is. I don't get it.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some other stuff. And my introduction for you is the man of Tune Up Tuesday, the guy who is getting everyone in the country ready for duck season. And I mean, Forrest Carvajal. I mean, thank you so much for doing this again. I'm excited to talk to you about everything we're going to talk about tonight.
Absolutely. I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm excited.
Well, I haven't got to talk duck hunting for like weeks, so it's been.
Am I coming through clear? I've got you propped up, and you're not exactly like my phone's not in the best place. Am I coming through clear?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay,
you're good. It'll work. I mean, yeah,
we know. Well, I want it to be right.
No, it's good. It's good. Solid.
Okay.
So let's first start with the name of this podcast came from y'all's phrase, "The life between the volleys." Where did you guys? What made you guys start thinking of that phrase?
We did not think of that phrase. That was. I mean, it's not original. I mean, I guess it's not originally ours. We did a Waterfowl Widows episode with our 3 wives, which at the time it was me, Tyler, and Barrett. So our 3 wives, and we were trying to figure out who was going to interview the 3 wives, and none of us really wanted to. Well, we happened to have Colton Thompson came into town for a calling contest. So we're like, hey, do you want to interview the women? So for the Waterfowl Widows episode, he was like, absolutely, that'd be fun. So he did that, and he was the one that said "Life Between the Volleys." I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Colton that said that. And then we just kept it.
Well, I mean, it's on your podcast, so you can own it. I mean,
yeah,
you own everything on there.
It was on our podcast.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry, Colton. Go start your own. Which I think he is starting his own podcast.
They do have one. They do.
Yeah, they do.
I forgot the name of it. I don't know if it's
the
Makers Podcast or I can't remember what it's called.
It's something along that line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and you guys kind of made me think a lot more about my seasons. Keep hearing you guys hear that say all season. And I mean, it really turned into, honestly, this is one of my funnest seasons. Granted, I put the camera down and focused more on my dog. I wish I'd have just brought the camera with me because half the time I wasn't picking up a gun. I was just working my dog, and I could easily had a camera in one hand and working the dog in the other. But it's definitely made me think more about, like, because we have crappy waterfowl seasons up here. I probably seen more ducks today sitting in a water hole than what I'll see in 5 hunts. which killed me because it was blue wings, about
Oh yes.
a bunch of gadwalls, some mallards, and a ton of wood ducks sitting in a bean field, just enjoying some water.
I bet they were colored up blue wings too.
Yeah, they looked very pretty. I had to stop in the middle of the road, pull out the binoculars, and have people
Yeah.
going by honking the horn at me. I'm like, guys, just move. Just move. I
Yeah.
actually got to try to figure out. I'm going to try to figure out how to get there and get some photos of them because they've been living like in these water holes for a while now. It's kind of
They don't get any prettier than this time of year.
yeah. So I gotta get photos of those but it's made me. I think the best part about this is just I went in NWTF with a different attitude, and actually I went to Arkansas. We originally started going to Arkansas with a different attitude about is just enjoying my time down there, and I actually had fun last year in Arkansas. Not that I didn't have fun the
Good.
first time, I just didn't have a blown up engine. And thanks to I got to give credit to Todd. I'm gonna screw it. How do you say Todd's like Todd Ezai?
Ezai.
Yeah,
Ezai.
yeah.
Which is not how I would have guessed it.
No, and that's my redneckness messes it up even worse. But he's an outstanding man.
Yes.
Me and him's actually become fairly good friends, and I've sent him over some photos and stuff I've done of his products and stuff, and I'm hoping they get to do some more for him. But I got to hunt with him twice while I was down there, and he basically was the nicest guy ever. Like answered every question we could have asked him while we were hunting about hunting in Arkansas, which he could have easily just not did that or lied to us. But I mean, he's definitely a guy who just enjoys being out there and been hunting. Granted, I think the first morning he wished we'd have shot at the wood ducks, but I didn't want to be the guy, which we're going to ask those questions here in a little while, be the guy who shoots at all the wood ducks. But granted, I'm pretty sure the 30 boats around us was doing it, so there was no reason in waiting. But no, it was a blast. But we're here to talk about you tonight, and kind of your life between the volleys, which I think we need to start with. What made you decide to start making your own calls? Because call making now seems like it's no longer in my eyes, the RNTs, the Echoes and stuff. It's all the custom stuff, all the hand turned and all the small shop guys. If I'm saying that right.
No, you're saying it right. For me, I've always blown a duck call. I started duck hunting when I was 11, and the duck call has always been a part of it for me. It's my favorite part about duck hunting. I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, I can watch them just come through the trees and I'll be happy. Well, if I didn't have a part in blowing the duck call to get them there, I'm probably not going to be as happy. If somebody was to outlaw duck calls, I would not duck hunt. I wouldn't do it. So in the duck calls being my favorite thing, I got into competition calling, and I'm still in it, and I love that. But I was listening to the End of the Line podcast when that was a thing, and he had Josh Raggio on, and Josh was a call maker, a custom call maker, which I didn't know that was actually a thing. And I listened to his story, and I was like, man, that's really cool. Somebody that just like, okay, so you just get a lathe and you turn it, and then I didn't know that was actually a thing. So in looking into it more after that, I was kind of like, I kind of owe it to myself to make my own call. Like it might be terrible. Like I may do the worst job in the world at this, but I've done everything I can do with the duck call. I mean, almost. I haven't won all the contests I want to win, but I've competed, I've won, I've called ducks in, I've done all that, but I've never made one. So I owe it to myself to try to make one. So I did, and it's turned into what it has now. Right now, it's a full-time job, and I need it to be more full-time, but I'm working on that.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you've done. I think I have call number 40. I don't know what my next one will be because I'm already on the books for this year to get another one. I'll be on the books next year to get another one. Like, I mean, it's just I became like I became kind of addicted to buying, and it's not really a bunch of different guys' calls. It's kind of just a few guys that I follow. Like I want to support them. I want to see, and that's kind of like the thing. Like I plan to buy another stand from Todd. Like, I mean, I have 2 dogs. I'm gonna buy 2 stands. Like, I need like a practice stand. I need a hunting stand. I like supporting these smaller company guys because I kind of get it a little more. It's like my goose calls. I support KES because I personally think they are the best goose calls out there. Duck calls, I mainly run. I run 2 company duck calls. I run a Pond Creek, which is your company, and then I run a Singleton from Devon. Um, and that was by luck of trade and a blind many years ago that I ended up with a Singleton, and now I own 7 or 8.
He makes a good call.
Yeah, I mean it's addicting, but it's one of those things where like you're right. If you're not blowing the call, it's really not worth it being out there. Personally,
I agree, and I don't have to be the lead caller or anything like that. I'm definitely not gonna be the guy that tells somebody else to be quiet, because that, number one, it's not my personality, and number two, I don't ever want anybody to tell me that. I want to understand when I need to shut up, and but yeah, it's dude, the when you blow a duck call at a duck and they respond, they either talk back or they turn back, and you make them do something that they weren't originally wanting to do. Oh man, you talk about a good feeling. I mean, there's just nothing in the world like it.
yeah, the hunt that makes me like think of this and kind of really made me feel good about my calling this year was it was a. I mean, we'd killed some ducks and stuff and whatnot, but I was hunting. We're hunting in the pouring rain on the high river in a creek mouth and stuff, and we were seeing some ducks. We're killing some ducks. These 2 ducks go flying right past us behind us, and I just like instinctively grab one of those Devon's calls, and I just hit it hard. And we just watched them. Me and the other boy just watched them completely decide, nope, what is that? And they just cupped their wings and dropped elevation of like 50, 60 feet quick. And now, if we'd have been setting back in the creek where they looked, they'd have finished. They would have finished from that high, I think.
Yeah,
They didn't want to come out on the river cause of all the rain and everything, so that kind of hindered us there. But, like, I mean, it was just their reaction. They had so much reaction. It kind of set me up to kind of, okay, you know what you're doing a little bit here. You've got
yeah.
a little idea what's going on. I mean, until we run out of tune-up Tuesdays, I won't be out of things I need to do.
Tune up Tuesdays are getting hard to come up with stuff, but they'll start getting recycled closer to duck season.
Well, and yeah, I think it is, and I think like I like the idea of the live, which I missed for some reason. You did a live one last week. I think you did at least. I missed it. I don't know if you did or not.
It was just a couple days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed the notification for some reason didn't come through. Like I get notified on certain people's stuff, and for some reason it didn't show up that night.
That's okay. There's going to be more. There's going to be more. There'll be guests on the rest of them probably.
Yeah, and
That's my vision for it anyway. Anyhow, since you missed it, I can explain it. So I've thought about doing the tune in Tuesdays for a month or two, because I've got to do something else. There's only so many things, so many tips I can give on Tune Up Tuesdays. And for people that don't know what Tune Up Tuesday is, it's on my Instagram. I give a 1-minute tip, how to blow a call, or why you blow this call, or how you make this sound, why this sound is called what it is, stuff like that. But I needed to expand it in some way, and I thought maybe I can do a live and get people on, and they'll want to ask questions from there that they actually have, and I can answer the questions there in a lengthy explanation instead of this quick 1-minute explanation. But then I was like, that will get boring, just people just talking to me, because I'm not interesting enough. But I thought, well, maybe if I can get some experts on, like if I have a cut down expert on one, or if I have a goose call expert on one, or a speckle belly expert on one, or shoot, we'll go into turkey call sometime, or something like that, and people can just ask calling questions. I want to keep it calling related, but that's kind of the vision for it right now. The first the first one went really well. Quit, my dog. And so I'm hopeful that the rest of them will go well too.
Yeah, and I mean, not to give you a little idea, you could also look at it as a region based thing too, because ducks react completely different based off regions. Like, there's something I want to do this fall, and it's kind of like a migration report, but I want to do it through like a hunter's eye, like catch a guy out different parts of the country and like kind of talk to him about what's going on in their area.
I like that
I
a
know
lot.
Delta Waterfowl does it. They do like a regional thing with all the regional reps, do like their own little spill. But that's kind of like specialty of areas and stuff. You know what I mean? Like our regional rep for Delta Waterfowl covers like 10 or 15 states. So it's kind of
Mm,
hard for him to kind of know what a migration report is for those all 10 or 15 states.
right.
I think they're looking to hire a guy if you want to move to the Northeast, which I don't think you do.
No, I hadn't thought about that. Hadn't thought about that.
It's not tempting enough. I do actually. My one buddy is moving to Alabama, so
Oh,
I
really?
hopefully will be getting to hunt Alabama. I don't know where.
Well, I don't know. What are you wanting to hunt in Alabama?
Everything.
Everything.
Well,
I know they
turkey.
have big deer and a lot of turkeys, I think.
I don't
So
really care about deer. I'm over deer. I'm like you. I mean, it's.
I'm not over them. I was never actually after them. I'm actually thinking about learning to get after them
Oh,
maybe this next year because
oh, it's.
I'm getting to the point where I don't like being away from the woods.
Yeah,
Like I want
I
to be
get
in the
that.
woods more. So that means I have to pick up more things to hunt. So
That is
because I'm
true.
not going hiking.
No,
In in
no.
in my world, which you've listened to the podcast, you know my feelings on boating in the summer. I can't stand it. Do not put me on some sort of party barge or some wake boat or anything like that in the summertime. I will be a grumpy person. If I'm in the boat and we're on the lake, we're fishing. That's what we're doing. I'm kind of the same way if I go to the woods. If I'm in the woods, I'm out here to hunt something. That's what I'm doing. I'm not on a hike to just look at nature. I want to hunt something.
Yeah, I completely agree. Uh, yeah, I don't. Yeah, just deer hunting. I haven't been into it for a while. It's. I kind of got out of it whenever I burned myself out in college and stuff, and filming it. It's just I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
You sit in a deer stand 20 times filming it, kind of gets. I don't know how those guys that do it, man. They are troopers. I could do turkey hunting. I could film turkeys, deer. I mean turkeys, ducks, elk. Probably I could probably do elk. It's a ton of hiking, but at least it like makes noise.
Well, maybe you need to get into like the stalking whitetail or something.
Oh, I love doing that. If I'm gonna hunt whitetail, like that's how I'd rather do it. Like stalk it, like spot and stalk with a bow. But we kind of live in a country where it's like rolling hills, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really work very well. It's more of a shoot 'em with a rifle kind
Yeah.
of state. But so you started the call company and stuff, and you're now we kind of got completely sidetracked. But like
Ah,
what is the well like what how many calls have you made up to this point? Do you have an idea?
I don't like the actual number that I've made. I don't have a number of how many I've made. Now, I people that I sell them to, I keep a number of that. I think 102 went out today, and there's like 103, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are still sitting in there waiting on invoices to be paid and stuff like that. So there's there's calls in there that are waiting, but the actual number I don't know because some calls I don't number. if if they're a dud, I don't number it. If it's a prototype call or a test call, I don't number it. There are some that are like if I donate a call, I don't number a donated call because I will uh like I sent one to Lane Dunning, and you have one of his calls. He makes really good duck calls.
Yeah, they're
Um,
super lightweight. It's really weird.
he did I think it was for like his Delta Waterfowl chapter or DU chapter or something or another. So I put the chapter where I normally would number the tone board. I put the chapter on there instead of my call number because it's for that. It's not, oh, you bought one of my calls. Here's one of my numbers. No, it's
Yeah,
donated to that
yeah.
specific deal, so it gets donated to that. So that's the way I do. It's not. It doesn't have a number, so I don't know how many I've actually done. Long answer for for that one question.
No, I mean that's a perfect answer. I mean, we now know you donate calls, so we now know everybody can reach out to you and get a free donated call to.
Yeah, yeah. Donate to
Uh,
a good cause, right?
yeah, I mean, I am trying to help out the Delta chapter here, and it's rough. It's rough to get people to understand and want to donate their time. It
Yeah.
really is, and My thing with, I'm probably about to sound really bad, but my thing with DU, Delta, either one is I want to see them do stuff in my state. Like, I don't care to donate the money and the money leaves, but like, if we do some type of fundraiser, can we have a little bit of money go to our state? Can we have, like, I helped Delta do a trash cleanup a while back. We picked up like 3 truckloads of trash at a WMA.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like 20 some tires. I mean, it was kind of ridiculous. I'm wanting to do a river cleanup, and I'm trying to think of like, instead of like a poker run, make it like a river run and get with like some of the local bass fishing chapters or catfish chapters and do some like door prizes and stuff for like the most weight you bring in or something. Like, you can take your grandpa's pontoon out there and pick up 1,000 tires. I really don't care. But there's
That's a
tons,
really cool idea.
but there's a ton of trash, and that's stuff like I want to do. And like, it's hard to get like other people to realize like, oh, this is, they want to do one event and think that one event needs to be the big ordeal. Well, 90% of that money leaves the state. Like,
Really?
I mean, I don't know what the percentage is, but I know in DU and Delta, there's like a big percentage of the money that goes to like Delta and DU, which can cause us like, which helps them run, helps them do their big events. Like Delta has the million duck thing they're doing where they want to put a million ducks. DU, I think, buys a bunch of land to do like have rest areas and stuff. So they're doing great things with their money, but that money's also going somewhere else. I mean, you get that.
Right.
You would much
Yeah.
rather, I mean, especially in Arkansas, you guys are one of the biggest. I mean, have the most waterfowl hunters in there in the state, and probably out of all states, y'all probably get the most out of state, in state guys.
We had more this year. We had more out of state hunters buy Arkansas duck stamps than in state hunters. It was like 52 to 48 or 53-47 or something like that. So, and that number has slowly risen of more out of staters, which to me it's not a bad thing. We last thing we need to do is discourage hunting. But back to those where their money goes right now. I want to go into Canada. If I'm going to be
Yes.
100% honest with you,
Yeah.
that's where we make the most ducks.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean that's what needs the most help. But we can't pay money to add water to those places.
no.
But I don't I Canada has gotten more of my focus over the last month or two, and I want to learn more about why their limits are the way they are, why they start so early. Personally, I've thought about this a little bit. Like, why we could, if they can kill, I think it's 8 birds a piece. You can kill 8 ducks a piece, and it doesn't matter. From what I've heard, it doesn't matter the species. Now, I could be wrong. Never been there, and again, I'm new to this as far as Canada. So, if you can kill 8, and it doesn't matter what species, and you go early in the season, and they're all brown, I mean, theoretically, you can shoot 8 hen pintails.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
Well,
I mean, that's terrible. You could kill 8 mallard hens.
yeah.
That's the last thing I want to do is shoot into a flock of ducks and get lucky and I triple, and then I go out there and pick up 3 hens. I don't want to. I don't want to do that at all. So I'm kind of curious if maybe they don't need to start some of their season as early, or maybe the limit needs to change throughout the season. Like when they're all brown, maybe they need to shoot only 4 birds.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know. And whoever, if somebody that's listening to this knows more about it, please talk to me about it because I want to learn. I think we need to start looking at Canada more.
well, and let's look at it this way too, to not make you feel worse about what Canada is, because I agree with you 100%. Like, I don't understand how everyone else, like, I mean, we had a state where we were 2 mallards for like 2 years. We just got back to 4. I've heard rumors they're wanting to shut down the Atlantic Flyway because of they can't find a true mallard like breed line.
Really?
Yeah, so like I don't know all the details, but I know like if you shoot an Atlantic Flyway mallard, it's mostly not a real mallard.
What is it?
It's a farm duck. It's a farm mallard.
Oh,
So
it's one of those. That's what. Who's doing that? Is DU doing that? That study? Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
I don't. I'd say it'd be DU. I would guess DU used on the study. But there's a bunch of podcasts. Meat Eater had it on there. Big Honker had him on there. You guys should get the guy on there that talks about
Duck DNA. Duck DNA.
yes, Duck DNA. You guys should get that guy on and talk to him because it's kind of crazy to learn that there's a ton of basically we don't ever shoot a true mallard. I shot
Yeah.
apparently 2 true mallards and they were in Arkansas. Other than that, I didn't shoot a real mallard.
Well, I mean, I think from what I've heard, even some of the ones that we have here, they think have a lot of farm duck in them.
Yeah.
They're not. So that's why they're doing that study is they want to know how much mallard is wild mallard versus farm duck mallard. Now, for me, it's got a green head. It's a mallard. Green head, yellow bill. It's a mallard. Green head, black bill. It's a different bird. I still like those too, but yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see how that comes out. That's still very new and fresh. But yeah, no, I didn't know it was that bad on in the Atlantic Flyway.
That's
I know
some
that California, the mallards they shoot there are not. They don't migrate. They move maybe up and down through the state of California, but those are all technically local birds.
yeah, and I don't know like the true facts about it. It's just rumors I heard today that it was a big discussion up in Harrisburg during that trade show. The guy talked about it. I'm gonna get him on and kind of pick his brain a little more about it. But it's crazy to think that that's kind of where we're headed. Like you said, like
Yeah,
you guys have talked about with the 2 years on when you're off hunting, it's kind of a complete different aspect we're headed towards because, I mean, are these because the are these farm ducks able to raise ducklings as good as a wild duck? Well, I think
hmm
the issue is no, they can't. They pick bad. They don't. They don't pick the right nesting area. They don't really defend against predators. They're doing a poor time raising ducklings, so we're not reproducing anything we're killing. And then we're ending up in they're finding studies of where these ducks are learning to just go from like rest area to rest area. So they're not even hitting like the public land to be hunted anyways.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, if you get shot at every time you go to that block of woods, you're not going to go back.
no, no, you're not.
Yeah.
We seen that last year, but I know some guys here last year shot a I don't know what kind of duck it is, the all white duck. Um, it decoyed in with a group of mallards. Now, I
Yeah.
would guess there was probably other mallards in that group that weren't true mallards.
Mm-hmm.
We shoot a lot of our black ducks we shoot are hybrids with those farm ducks, with those farm mallards too. So, I mean, it's definitely an issue that I think needs talked about it. But I think one thing to look at Canada is how much regulation is done up there. Like because I assume it's all federal game wardens, feds versus out of state hunters. You know as well
Yeah.
as I do, if they can get away with it, they're shooting 8 in the morning. What's stopping them from not shooting 8 in the evening? Because how many guys are bringing back all their birds? They're going for a week.
Yeah, well, and you can't even bring back all your birds because there's a possession limit.
Yeah,
And I was listening to it was Dr. Duck episode today, and he had the guy from Chasing Green, the YouTube channel, on there, and they were talking about possession limits, and that's something that I've never had to worry about because I don't kill enough of them to worry about that. But I can't remember which one of them was saying that they were out and they were cooking some of their ducks, and a game warden came up and told them like technically he could get them for that because it's getting rid of that possession limit in a way that I guess you're not supposed to or something like that. It's like how does that work?
yeah, it's some
How
dumb.
I mean if I because in Arkansas your possession limit is 3 times your daily limit.
Yeah,
So if you come to Arkansas, for example, for a week and you shoot your limit the first 3 days, but you can't cook them on the spot, what are you supposed to do the rest of the time? Are you done hunting? Does that mean you have to be done? How does that work? I don't understand that. And I mean, the game warden didn't give him a ticket or nothing, but he was just trying to educate them on that. But apparently, Canada has it to where if this is one of the good things that I've heard about Canada. Not that Canada's bad, but up there they have the possession limit, which is still like the same of 3. 3 times. But if you start marinating or if you start in the cooking process, then it takes it out of that possession limit.
Okay.
So he was talking about, like, dude, the guy from Chasing Green he said, man, we eat duck every day. Like, that's their meal every day when they go on these trips. So I'm like, I mean, if honestly, like, if a game warden gave a guy a ticket for eating what he killed, how big of a jerk is that game warden have to be? You know? So the
And
possession limit thing, which Billy from Dr. Duck has been on that for a while, and I'm starting to get there with him too. I don't hunt out of the state of Arkansas very much, but if I did, I don't want to get in trouble for that, you know?
yeah. Well, it's like, so how do you, like, you take birds across state lines? Okay, we got another one. That's another issue where, I mean, it's bad. It's bad enough trying to transport any other animal across state lines. I mean, fish, and I think fish and ducks are like the worst to transfer across state lines because you got to leave a wing on, or you got to leave something attached.
Yeah, something to identify them.
But yeah, like you said, like if you start cutting up the cook, well, and that's like me. Like, we're right here at Ohio, so if I get to Ohio and hunt for 3 days, and I have my possession limit of three daily limit, I bring it back to my house. And then also I already have a possession limit of West Virginia ducks in there. Like, am I over now? How does that work?
That's a great question.
I mean, I would
That's a
I would assume I'm over, because they're gonna look at everything as being in possession. It's 3 times a daily. I'm over my three times. So
Yeah, that's an excellent question, because where I grew up in Texarkana, Arkansas. So for anybody that doesn't know where that's literally on the Arkansas-Texas border. Like, I grew up, I think it was 2 miles from the state of Texas, but I lived in Arkansas. And in Texarkana, there's two major lakes. There's Millwood on the Arkansas side, and there's Wright Patman on the Texas side. So you could hunt either one. You could literally hunt both of them in the same day. You could hunt one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and shoot your limit on the Arkansas side, and you can go shoot your limit on the Texas side, or vice versa. So when you go to possession limit, do I have possession limit of Texas and Arkansas in the same cooler, or am I only allowed the 3 daily limits of Arkansas birds? Like that, where's that cleared up? You know?
well, I mean, to get worse, we have the High River, which is owned by West Virginia. So, and West Virginia and Ohio seasons don't align with each other. Not only do they not align,
Yeah, Texas and Arkansas don't either.
not only do they not align, they have different limits. They might be closer now. The goose was higher in West Virginia, and the ducks were higher in Ohio. So, in theory, you could hunt 20 yards from the mouth of the High River on a creek. And I guess if you had an Ohio license, you could, and West Virginia's season was in. I don't know if you could you technically count your geese as your West Virginia limit and your ducks as your Ohio limit, and kind of, I mean, it's a real muddy area. There's like a whole document on it, but it's a thing that people try to explain to me, and I'm like, I'll just follow one set of regs and we'll go from that.
Well, I mean, let's muddy that even more, because think about lakes that split 2 different states, like Toledo Bend. It splits Texas and Louisiana. So I think the way that they do their license, I think, and I could be wrong, is it depends on which boat ramp you're putting in at. So if you're in Louisiana and you put in on a Louisiana boat ramp, you're fine. So let's say I'm duck hunting and I put in, and I live in Louisiana. I have a Louisiana duck hunting license, but I cross that border over, like, I'm clearly in the Texas side, but I'm not standing on Texas ground, and I shoot my limit. Well, did I shoot Texas birds or Louisiana birds?
I mean,
I've never thought of that until now. So this is great. I love this.
yeah, it's a nightmare. I mean,
Let's muddy this water as muddy as we can get it.
regs terrify me. Like, there have been so many. I'll never forget. Like, this is a funny one. So wood duck limit is 3, pretty much 90% of the places.
Yeah.
So my first time ever hunting a triple in one shot.
Oh.
I mean, I was hunting it was my first time ever hunting by myself. So I triple in
Were they
one shot.
flying?
No, oh no, I waited
Okay.
on them laying on the water.
Oh, I'll
I
shoot them
water,
on the water too.
I water swatted.
I heard Jim Ronquist say this, and I steal it, but I don't shoot them swimming. I shoot them sitting still.
Yeah, oh yeah. They were kind of all in a group, and they just landed, and I was like, oh, there's probably like 2 or 3 heads right there really close together. And I've told guys, I'm like, hey, like I got lucky one time doing that. Like that doesn't ever like work that way. Like you get lucky sometimes with a flock of geese, and you'll clip a second one. I do have some buddies this year who mowed some spoonies, and one flight of spoonies they shot. 2 of them shot 8. They
Really?
said they said when
That's legit.
like they said there were probably 30 of them, and when they decoyed, they just like the one boy said like he said when he watched his first shot, he watched that duck drop, and in his peripheral he'd see 2 more fall, and he was like, "What the crap?" And they just like started cleaning up, and they were like, the video's hilarious because we had all hunted, and like it was the one guy's wedding, and it was his best man that was with him that was on that hunt, and like they sent us a video, and everybody else has shot like 1 wood duck or like 1 teal, I think, and like we hadn't even I'd seen a duck at like 900 miles an hour. We had like real high winds and stuff, and it was just awful. And they sent this video of like, I'll raise your 1 teal, 1 spoonie, 2 spoonie, 3 spoonie. And I'm like, how many freaking spoonies did they shoot? I was like, holy shit. And the one guy's like, dude, I wish you'd have been there just for your dog. He goes, this was awful trying to pick these things up. He's like, we probably went through 20 shells trying to finish them off, swimming around everywhere. And I was like,
Oh, dude, I had you reminded me of a hunt. I don't know that I've told this story on our podcast before. But me and my cousin Scott, we were hunting on our lease back in Texarkana, back when we had that, and we were hunting. It's foggy. I mean, real foggy morning, and it was right at shooting light. And we had 3 ducks. They came in, boom, and they hit the water. And I was like, I asked Scott, I said, "You see them?" He's like, "No, I can't tell where they're at." And I said, "I see one of them." He said, "Well, if you see it, shoot it." I'm like, okay. So I raised my gun up. I said, "Get ready to shoot them when they jump up." He's like, "All right." So I click my safety. Boom! I shoot, and I'm ready. I'm like, I'm looking, and he's looking. He's like, "Well, where'd they go?" I'm like, I don't know. I see my one kicking on the water. Like, I don't know where the other 2 went. So like, I guess I'll go out there and get him. I walked out there, and all 3 of them was mowed over in a pile. I shot all 3 in one shot. It was 2 mallards and a gadwall.
yeah, that's, you can't.
No, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you, but I got all 3 of them.
I've had a couple hunts like that. Like we had 2 ducks laying one time hunting a little pothole, and they're swimming. I told my one buddy, I was like, hey, if you can get an angle on them, shoot them. He goes, well, I'm shooting the drake. I was like, that's fine. I was like, one of these other guys probably gonna shoot the hen when you shoot it. He shoots, and I mean, it's pretty open water around where they're at. And we're all sitting there, and he shoots, and he like kind of lowers his gun, and he kind of looks, goes, I got him. And I go, what do you mean you got him? He goes, oh, the hen might have been in the way in the background. I was like, it's like, so you clatter the second one? He goes, yep, I got both of them. It's the funniest thing ever when that happens.
I love it. I love it when that happens because you can't do anything but laugh. It wasn't like you intentionally tried to do some of it. You just got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever like accidentally done it though. I mean, other than those,
I've accidentally done it because one time back at that same lease with my grandfather, we had 5 teal come in, and they hit the water, and I said, I'm about to shoot them because I was younger. I was I was in high school, but younger than I am now, and so I raised up. Well, when I raised up, they jumped up, but they went together. I went boom. 3 of them fell. Boom! I shot another one. Boom! I shot another one. And I'm like, all 5 are laying dead on the water. And I'm like, I'm wide eyed. And I looked at people and I said, "Did you shoot?" He goes, "What was I supposed to shoot at? You killed them all."
Oh, so we pulled into a spot to hunt this year, and it's me and my buddy, and we pull in, and we're putting in, and I'm like, dude, I can hear ducks. He goes, so can I. I'm like, oh, this is about to be good. We're driving up through the river. We're jumping ducks. We go to pull into the spot where we're gonna hunt. It's freezing up, and I just start shining my headlamp. I'm like, that's a mallard. That's a mallard. That's a teal. That's a teal. That's a mallard. That's a black duck. I'm just shining these ducks as they're popping up in front of us. So we get set up, and we're getting set up there, and we get everything set up, and they kind of birds start filtering back in and moving around and stuff, and we're sitting there, and this teal lands in front of us. He's like, "I'm gonna shoot this teal." I'm like, "No, you're not." He goes, "I'm gonna shoot this teal." He's like, "I've never shot a green wing before." I'm like, "Dude, it's fine." I was like, "It'll come back." I was like, "It came back once. There was two of them. There's only one of them this time, so it's bound to be another one somewhere. It'll come back." I was like, "It's fine. Don't worry about it." And I'm sitting there arguing with him over this teal, and it finally gets up and leaves, and he's like all mad about it. And then like we end up shooting some mallards and stuff, and we're sitting there waiting to leave and stuff, and like I'm like, I guess we just need to leave. And I kind of look to the right, and these three teal come about 100 miles an hour, it seemed like, and they just hit the water and slide up. And I go, "There's your teal." And I was like, "Get them." And I like pull up. I shoot the first one while it's sitting on the water still, shoot another one as it jumps. And then like I'm just hearing his gun go off, and I look at the third one, and I swing over, and I just miss hitting it. I was like, "How did you not hit one of them?" He's like, "I just got all flustered." He goes, "They come out of nowhere." And I was like, "I know they did. They about hit your boat on the way in."
He blacked out shot.
But we had one of the days we shot triple black ducks on a hunt up that way. I shot this one black duck, and all of a sudden I just hear them going. They go blue wing, and I go, "What?" And this stud out Drake blue wing had set down with that thing about 20 yards behind it, and all I seen was like a little blue object shooting out there, and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't have a chance, guys."
Man.
I mean, I think they tried. I was like, "I can't believe you didn't hit it," but I was like, that thing was scooting. I don't even know. That's one bird I haven't shot yet. Is a blue wing and a gadwall. Two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't get like
the gadwall surprises me.
We don't get as many gadwall.
Okay.
We get them more around like the towns. If you hunt like near a town or something, they usually hang out like in town or something.
But, I'm surprised you didn't get one when you were here.
We hunted 3 days while we were there. The one day we should have shot wood ducks. I watched one walk off a shot that Todd shot. I don't even know how. I mean, it was like kicking on the water, and then it got up and just flew off all of a sudden. We're all like, "Well, shit."
Yeah. Makes you feel awful when that happens.
We had a couple more land that I was just kind of like, I was hesitant to shoot. It was my first time ever hunting with Todd, so you don't want to be the guy who just, and he's like, "Dude, just start shooting." The second day was the day I learned about all y'all's drive-in access. Y'all have the stuff. Y'all have a ton. Early season, you all have a lot of access to like those small lakes and stuff. I didn't know about that. Learned about that.
You get most of the time it's a foot race, but yeah.
It don't matter. I was not in the foot race. I was well out of the foot race, considering I took a boat to that foot race. Yeah, we didn't and the worst part about it was I seen the road on the map. I just didn't think to drive over and look to see if that road was accessible.
Gotcha.
It is highly accessible to that area. About 40 trucks went in there that morning. But yeah, they all had good days. I did not. That was kind of a scrap day. We got to listen to a guy on a duck call. I really wanted to tell him to quit, although I understand he was on private land, probably guiding a hunt, I assume, right off the White River, and it was just so annoying listening to that thing well on
it. Did they shoot any?
Oh, yeah. It sounded like 14 guns went off one time. It was
While he was wailing on that call.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, like, you could hear him plain as day say, "Kill him," and I just kind of looked that way, like, can I see these birds when they come out? And it just sounded like a murder fest. It was just one of those, I was like, holy shit. We seen birds that day. They just don't want to, like, that White River you guys have is not like our river. It's a lot.
It's a river.
It's like an oversized creek is what I call it, because like our rivers are like 3 times the size of it, but they're not as swift.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I would feel like our rivers are 2 times as wide, but they're not as swift most of the time. The high river is probably 3 or 4 times the width of it. But like the birds just don't want to be on it like they want to be on. Like our rivers, they'll set on them. They'll set in the creek mouth, but they probably won't set in the creek mouth y'all's because they have boats flying up and down them. We have a 1% of the hunters, so that was a little learning curve of being out on the White. And then the last day we killed some birds. I figured
Well, good.
I liked hunting that area a lot better. We won't discuss what area that is because I would
No, don't do that.
gladly like to. I plan on going back there.
Yeah,
I actually
don't
plan
don't
on.
don't say it. Don't even say the general area.
Oh no, I plan on getting a house closer to that area and not in DeWitt. I'll say DeWitt because y'all can all have DeWitt. I don't want to stay in that place again.
You didn't like DeWitt, so
Actually,
I know where you were at. Then, if you're talking about all the boat or the road
yeah,
access, I know
yeah,
exactly where you were at.
yep,
Then,
yep. See, that's like I don't care. You all can have that. That's a. Now I will give DeWitt this much. They have a really good pizza place. I forget the name of it. Um,
oh, I know where you're talking about. Yeah,
it's behind the seafood place that is not open maybe anymore. I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. I would like we were going to go there to eat, but we never could figure out if it was open or not. So we went to that pizza place.
it's an interesting place.
The fish place or the pizza place?
DeWitt.
Oh, DeWitt. Yeah, yeah. DeWitt was just. I didn't. So one person I didn't go see while I was down there was all my buddies call him the Gumbo Man. I don't know like what everyone calls him down there.
Don't ask me food questions. You should know better than ask
I
me
know
food questions.
we're gonna get into your food issues because I agree with you on some of it. I'd rather eat some of the stuff like what you'd rather eat sometimes. Although you're a little pickier than me, I like to tell my wife.
I'm pretty piggy.
But yeah, so it was just definitely different down there. But we've chased some rabbits now. So we've talked about what do you think? So back to calls because we'll go back to calls and we'll chase some more rabbits and get somewhere else. I know you talked about this year you qualified for the Worlds with your own call.
Mm-hmm.
Let's first start with how that felt to like qualify and not only qualify but win some of the first competitions you won with your own call versus blowing an RNT, Echo, or whoever else. I don't. That's the only two I really know.
Yeah.
As comps.
So I started doing competition calling seriously in 2020, and Main Street calling is my favorite. I think it's the most difficult, and it's the Worlds in Stuttgart. It's the most, in my opinion, the most prestigious waterfowl calling contest that you can win. It's been around since like 1936. It's super old. It's a tradition here in Arkansas. So that one is my number one goal. But you have to win a contest, a sanctioned contest, to qualify for it. So that means you have to win a state contest or a regional. So my first year of competing, I think I competed in 11 Main Street contests, and I only made the third round once. Third round is the final round. So then the second year, I can't remember how many I competed in, and I finally won a contest. Didn't think I blew well enough to win the contest. I thought somebody else should have won it. But I won, and I qualified with an Echo. And at that point, I was to the point where I like most contests. I was like, I should make the third round as long as I blow clean every time. But I was getting the critique from a lot of judges that I wasn't loud enough. Like I needed to be louder if I wanted to win. I was like, okay, well then Worlds came around. I made it to the second round my first year. That validated that I should have been there because I made the second round. I was happy with that. So last year was my third year to compete, and I competed probably half of the year with an Echo. Well, no, with I did some with an Echo, and I did some with an Elite Legacy.
Okay.
And I still had judges that were telling me like you're just too quiet. Your top end is just too quiet. Everything else is great, but your top end is just too quiet. So basically, I just got pissed off, and I was like, fine, I'll just make my own, and I'm going to make this the loudest thing that people have ever heard. Well, just tuning a Main Street call is difficult. So making one, I was like, I'm probably not going to make one, but I was pissed off. So I was like, I'm going to make one, blah, blah, blah. Well, it was either my first or second try, and I made one, and I was like, this is really good. I was like, I blow this call really, really well. I was like, I think I've got one. And I think it was not the first contest that I did with it was the Arkansas State. and I missed one note, missed it bad, and got cut. But everything else, I was like, everything else was good. So I asked the judges afterwards, I was like, what are your critiques? And not one judge said that I was too quiet. So like, I might be onto something. Competed in the next contest that day, which was a regional. Did the same stupid thing. I missed the same freaking note in the same spot in the first round and got cut again. Like, you gotta be kidding me. So I asked the judges again. It's like, was this one, this is what number I was? Was I too quiet? It's like, well, no, if you wouldn't have missed that note, you'd been perfectly fine. I'm like, okay. So the next day was the third contest, and I was bound to determine. I was like, I'm not missing that note. I'm not missing that note again. And I blew in the first round, blew clean. Sweet. Second round, blew clean. Third round, blew clean. Got second. Like, dadgummit, it's like, gosh dang, still can't win with my own call. But I talked to the judges, and the person that beat me was Jonathan Morton, who's he's a top 5 anytime he's at Worlds. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, the one guy that beat me, if I was to beat him, I'm probably a top 5 at Worlds. So like, I'm okay losing to him.
Yeah, that's kind of
I blew
that's an
3
okay
clean
loss.
routines, and the only thing that the judges can tell me is he was just better. That's all they can tell me. So, okay. So then the next regional that I went to was in Mississippi, and I was feeling pretty confident. I mean, I was like, I think my call sounds really good. I've got 2 chances today. Like, I'm pretty sure I can qualify. I blew in the first round, and I was like, I'm pretty happy with that. I was like, I don't know if I'm in the lead, but if I'm not, I'm really close to it. And then in the second round, something happened, and I don't know what it was, but my call sounded really thin to me. Dang, something was off. So I was like, well, I blew my chances in this one. I guess I'll do better in the next contest. Well, somehow I made the third round. I was like, okay, well, sweet. Maybe if I blow like I did in the first round, I'll get a top 3 and get my money back on this contest. Blew the third round. Well, the same thing happened as the second round. I was still, in my opinion, too high and I was too thin. Something was wrong. So I'm pissed off or whatever. I'm like, dadgummit, I'm already planning for the next contest, and they call us out there and they're like, we need these 3. And I was one of the 3. I was like, well, sweet. I mean, maybe I guess I got third. So they called third place and it wasn't me. And at that point I was like, oh no. I was like, please tell me, like, I want to win. But there is something about, like, if you're a competitive person and you do any kind of contest thing or compete in any way, when you think you should win and when you shouldn't win. And I didn't think I should win this contest. So part of me was like, oh no, I'm about to steal this contest when I don't know that I deserve it. And that's exactly what happened. Same thing that happened the year before. Like,
I mean,
I qualified, but I did not feel like it should have been me. I thought it should have been this other person. But that's what happened, and but it was with my call, so I won with my call. I qualified. I was happy, but it came back to, well, now at Worlds, I need to validate myself and at least make it out of the first round with my call.
yeah.
And then I felt like, okay, I should have been here regardless if I should have won this contest or not. And I blew the first 2 rounds at World clean. And I got to the second round with my call. I was ecstatic. I was like, I made it just as far as I did last year, blowing an echo, which is one of the best Main Street calls
Yeah.
that's ever. So I was like, I was happy. Blew in the second round, thought I blew good again. And then I made the third round. Well, I didn't make the third round with the echo, but I made the third round with my call. So that was the point. Well, I told you a long story to get to your answer, but that was the point where I was like, my call is good.
Yeah.
My call works. I've made the third round in the World Championship at Stuttgart. I know that I can do well with my call. I don't know that I can win with it just yet. Maybe I can. Hopefully I can. But at that point, I was like, sweet, let's go. So in the third round, I'm like, there's nothing else to lose here. I didn't think that I was winning, so I was like, let's blow the lights out on this third round and try to get in the top 10. So I start my routine, and my hails are like, I'm like, these things are banging. This is perfect. And I get to my greeter ducks, which is just so happens to be the same note that I missed in those first 2 contests. I missed that sucker again. And I threw a goose call on that one note, and I was like, "Dad gummit!" The rest of it I blew great. So I'm like, I'm pissed that like that one note is going to keep me, it hurt me like that one note. But I'm also like, well, I'm going to get to go out here and I'll watch, I'll probably watch a buddy win the worlds and I'll see where I was at. So when I got kicked out, because obviously you
Yeah.
make a bad note like that, you're getting kicked out of the contest. So I go out there and I start looking at the scores and I look and I'm like, well, dang, I was in a tie for seventh. I was like, I was already in the top 10, so I was like, frick, yeah. I mean, I was very pleased with where I sat. And I talked to a couple judges after Worlds and I said, what were your critiques for me? And not a single one of them said that I was too quiet, which is the main thing that I've always gotten. So I was like, I made something, excuse me, I made something for myself that worked better than anything else that I've used so far. So that was very gratifying feeling. It was like I just had to do it for myself, and I it's hard to put into words of how much it meant. Now if I win worlds with my call, that'll be cool because I don't know that anybody has won the worlds with their call since Rick Dunn did it in '97.
I was gonna say since like the old school guys who own
Yes.
who own those companies did it.
Yes. And
Um,
now that was another cool thing is there was four of us. I don't know that Dustin Wright made the third round. So if he did, I'm sorry to Dustin that I left you out. But in the third round, there was four people that were using a call that they made. There was Domingo Sanchez, who's gotten second at Worlds before, Colton Thompson, Travis Ward, and myself. So all four of us had made our own calls, qualified with our own calls, and made the third round at Worlds with our own calls. And I mean, if I had to venture a guess, us four, probably Seth Fields will be. I mean, I guess Hayden, you might could say he won Worlds with the call that he made because he used a Riceland, but he modified it to be a Main Street call for himself. So maybe you could put Hayden in that category of one with his own
I'd put
call.
it
That
as a modified win because I mean there's going to be a
yeah,
difference. I mean because
it just depends on how you want to look at it. I don't want to say that he didn't. I don't want to be one of those guys,
every
black and white. He didn't do it. Blah, blah.
well
I'm not going to do that.
every
It's just a matter of opinion.
every call that a guy's using, I would hope, just like you said, like you have to get it to fit you. So even if you're using an echo, I'd hope you're tuning it and flipping it over to fit you. Not it, you can't pick up the guy beside you who's blowing an echo and it be the same. Um,
Most when it comes to Main Street, most of those calls are set up for that person. So like the way it would work is like let's say you're getting into Main Street calling and you want to blow an echo. You would go to the echo shop and Rick would probably have like half a dozen boss inserts. He'd give you a barrel because all the barrels are the same. Give you a barrel and you would test all six of those inserts and whichever one felt the best, one or two, you would go down to those one or two and then you would tune reeds to try to get the best tone and the most volume and the most user friendly call that fit you. That's how most Main Street calls are going to be set up.
yeah,
Now, back to Hayden, his was Riceland did not have a Main Street call, and he blew one of theirs and was like, "Hey, this thing will ring." And then he played with it some more and created their Main Street call. So I mean, he did create it. He did make it.
okay, yeah.
Now he didn't turn the shape down. He didn't bore it out. He didn't shape the tone board right off the bat. It already had pre-shape to it. But from that point, he created that call.
He kind of did it to an extent. Then I'd
Yes.
give it as to an extent, yes. I mean, but it's still to me it's up there. It's just not up there as much as like turning your own and doing it. So here's a question with I mean you've talked about a few times about you making the worlds and making it that far with your own call. Have you had anyone ask you to make a comp call?
Yes. Yes. I have made. There are three people out there that have one of my competition calls. I don't know that if they'll ever be used in a contest. One of them might. The other one I made for another person, another call maker he's wanting to make his own Main Street call. Now he come over and I made him one of mine, not for him to copy, but he came over and it was more of like, make me one that makes the right sound. Yeah, your light just went out.
Yeah, it did. It completely just went out. So hold on like 2 seconds. I'm gonna throw on
Yeah,
the other lights.
you're good. You good?
Yeah, I haven't run off battery power, and they weren't
All
charged
right.
all the way. I'm kind of been a train wreck today prepping for this.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. So anyhow, I had a buddy come over who's a call maker, and he wants to make a Main Street call for himself because he wants to try to get into it. So he came over and was like, "Can you make me one?" So I made him one of mine, not for him to copy it, but so that he got the right sound. Like he came over and I made one, and I was like, "Okay, right there, that's the tone you're looking for. That's the sound you're looking for." So he left with that call so that he could go back and blow it. This is a tone. This is the tone I'm looking for, and then he goes and creates his own. Okay, because there's a specific tone you're looking for, and honestly, like say the tone is right here, which people that are listening they can't see me.
Yeah,
Say the tone's right here. Mine is just a fraction lower than what most people's are. Uh, Mine could be a little bit higher pitch than other people's, but I really like the tone of mine, and that was the only thing I was worried about. I wasn't worried about the volume, but the tone is just a little bit lower, so I was curious how that would work, but I never had anybody tell me that it was too low. So I'm going to stick with it because it's really pleasing to my ear. So hopefully that's one of the ways you win a world championship is you just get the right judges someday and you
yeah.
blow
I mean,
clean and you win.
it's an opinion based. It's an opinion based sport. So I mean,
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's an opinion based judge. Like so much stuff out there is, and like I think people get wrapped up in the getting mad over someone winning, but it's like, hey, it's opinion based. That's the sound they like. They like that guy's sound, and it's kind of universal. They like that sound. You need to be trying to match that pitch, like you just said.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and that's one of the things when you get into it, and you'll hear a lot of people that have done contest calling a long time say, you're going to win some contests you shouldn't win, and you're going to lose some contests that you should have won. I've, to my knowledge, I don't think that there's any contest that I've blown in that I'm like, I should have won that, and so did. I haven't had that moment yet. I mean, I obviously will at some point. But I have had twice where I won and thought, I thought this other guy should have won, but I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, you. It's not like you did anything. I mean, all you did was,
I didn't do it, yeah.
yeah. I mean, he can go complain to that guy.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, there's so much more we can talk about. It's been an hour already. Let's hit some topics real quick. When you got in the competition calling or making calls and all that, did you get starstruck by like meeting any of these guys? I mean, early on, you guys had Jonathan Martin on your podcast,
Uh-huh.
which I mean, I'm a big fan. I love the Echo videos they do and stuff. The old school Echo videos. Sorry, I just can't get on board with the whole. I mean, Freddie King's hilarious no matter what you put him in, but wear guns. But like the old school, which I know now they can't do that because of all the like. I mean, Dr. Duck complains enough about the shot chasers on them. I could not imagine if a person seeing Freddie King at a public ramp, how bad it would be. Him and Jonathan Martin. I mean, that would be unreal. But like you guys like that, like Domingo and stuff, who some of these guys like you. Did you get starstruck the first couple times, like seeing them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The first contest that I went to was in Lindale, Texas, at Back Down South. Okay. And that's like a 4.5 hour drive for me from where I live. And I went over there for a meat calling contest. And I showed up. It was October of 2020. And I show up and I'm already looking around at like, yeah, I think I recognize some of these people from online contests. I'm not saying that I can beat them, but I'm like, I'm feeling confident that like maybe I can make the third round with these guys. And then I look over and I see Domingo Sanchez and Cody Johnson, who Cody, it's not the singer Cody Johnson. It's
Yeah.
another person. He's a duck caller. But I see them two and I'm like, well, crap. Now I'm like, okay, I know who's going to win. It's going to be one of these two guys. And so, yeah, I went over and I introduced myself to both of them and, told them how good of callers they were. And me and Domingo are pretty good friends now. I mean, I talk with Domingo. I'm not going to say regularly, but when I see him at contests, I always try to hang out with him and talk with him because he's a really cool guy. But yeah, I mean, all of them that have accomplished stuff and have been around for a long time. Yeah, I starstruck being around them. I'm still starstruck with some of them.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question because, like, I mean, there's so many, like, I mean, and what I can think of is NWTF because that's where I last was. And I didn't. It's funny because the person I was least probably starstruck with was probably Ronnie Phillips from Heart and Waterfowl, which I love their show. I think it's one of the best produced waterfowl shows out there. As far as TV, they're the best. They have one of the best shows on YouTube because their production value is so high. It's not like, but I think Dr. Duck and them stuff's really good. I think there's a few of them that I really like. I like production though. I like that. Like if it's high end production, like those guys are paying for,
Yeah.
it's more entertaining for me than the GoPro. And nothing against the Outdoor Limits and those guys, but like I'm kind of over being that I own a camera and stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, I think shoot, I done forgot. What the heck? Matt would agree with me that, like, like the higher production stuff kind of draws your attention in a little better.
Oh yeah.
For someone,
Absolutely. I
especially when
mean,
you own a camera, it's easier to be
yeah,
drawn into that. But they were
yeah.
probably the least them, and then like the Stanfields, like Andy and Jeff. Like I really didn't get starstruck by those guys. To me, they were like even with the hunting public guys, because that was like the two big groups. I think was like the Boss booth and that booth.
Yeah.
But then like you look at like. Not that I like got starstruck, but I seen Cal Jones and I was like, I'd kind of love to go talk to him, but there's like three guys talking to him. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to go. And then you see like Colton was there, Colton Kier, which I've seen him before while I've been in Stuttgart. And then the Dr. Duck and them, like I really didn't get to talk to them till Todd showed up, and then like because he was there for a day and I hung out with him while he was there. I really didn't talk. I just kind of stood there while he talked to Dr. Duck and them. While he handled business, I kind of stood off to the side and like looked like I was an important person that I was not at all. Like, oh, thanks. Like, here's my name.
I'm more starstruck by the people that when I was a kid I looked up to. So like if I was to go to a show and see, Billy and Dennis, they're still. I mean, I'm still like, oh man, yeah, there's Dr. Duck, but I can go talk to them. Like
Yeah.
that's no big deal. Now, you put me around John Stevens, Jim Ronquist, Sean Stahl, the guys from RNTV, because that's what I grew up watching. I mean, even Rick Dunn and those guys. So, like, you put me around them, I'm like, oh, I get nervous. I'm like, man, you know, that's them. That's who I watched growing up, and now some of them know me by name, and I mean, Sean was when I did the live the other night. Sean was one of the first ones that got on, and I was like, oh, pressure, no pressure, no pressure at all. And Brooke Richard is another one. He's with Higdon Outdoors. He's not one that I grew up watching, but I've watched so much of him, and he's done so much in the sport at a pretty young age. I think he's a year or two younger than me, and he was on the live the other night, and he interacted and everything. Like I really appreciate the heck out of him. But even around him, there's times that I get a little bit of like, you're somebody, I ain't nobody.
Yeah.
I get that
But I
feeling.
think it gets easier the more, and that's one reason why I like doing these podcasts and stuff. It gets easier more talking to these guys and stuff. Like
Yeah,
Ronnie, when I did my podcast with Ronnie, which I'm going to do another one with him, I randomly sent him a message on Facebook. I was like, hey, I have a podcast. Would you care to be on it? He goes, yeah, can you do it in 10 minutes? And I'm like, 10 minutes? I don't know if my brain can functionally handle this. Let me go. First thing I did was get up and I went and killed a bourbon because I'm like, I'm going to need alcohol to calm my nerves real quick. I was like, how can you just say in 10 minutes? And then, like, so we're doing it, and this is, which you did, like, a podcast you and Tyler did a long time ago, and Tyler's done another one with me. Like, our service used to suck here. Like, we finally got Starlink, which no one should get Starlink. It's awful. Don't get it. It's horrible. It's the worst. It's secretly the best, and I don't want them hurting my freaking surrogate my services.
There you go.
It is the bee's knees. I mean, like, that's what we're running off of right now, Starlink Wi-Fi, and it's
doing great.
It is for the middle of nowhere, and I don't have cell phone service. It is excellent. But like, so like we're like having communication problems, and I'm doing it on my phone, and that's one reason why I like doing the FaceTime with the computer, because it's away from me. I can't touch a button, I can't mess with anything, and I don't know. I tapped my phone, and then I just looked at it. I seen the red button. I just touched it. So Ronnie's in the middle of talking. I just hang up on him, and I just freeze, and I'm like, did I really just hang up on him? What was my brain like processing? I was trying to swipe or something and look at something to ask him a question, and I just hung up on him. I went, shit. Now I'm trying to like get him back on the phone. Like, I'm sorry, like that was my fault. Like, I accidentally hit the end call button. Like, I don't know what I was doing, but he's been a big supporter, and it's kind of made it easier. Like when he likes something, or sends me a message, hey, you're doing a good job or something. This looks good. And I'm like, man, this is a lot of pressure, because like I've looked up to him for the longest time of like the stuff he's done, the quality of stuff they did. Because I mean, they were the cream of the crop. They held such a high production level and stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's interesting. But someone I ran into that like, it's just I bumped into him on accident at NWTF was Jonathan Martin.
Yeah.
And it was, I just kind of like walked by, and like I'd done this one other time, and I'll admit this story in a second. But like I was like, hey, Jonathan, nice to meet you. Like, it's like I love what y'all do with the Echo shows and stuff. And he's like, oh man, he's thank you so much. And he was leaving a booth. He was in a rush. And I'm like, hey man, I'm not trying to hold you. Just want to shake your hand, tell you, love the Echo videos. Like, keep them up. And he's like, hey man, he goes, hey man, you just caught me at the right time, and hands me like a Echo cut down out of nowhere. And I was like,
nice.
I was like, dude, you don't like. I was like, dude, you don't have to do this. Like, I don't, because like, I mean, at NWTF, like I was getting like, if you just talk to those people, they'll give you some free stuff. Like boss, like gave me like 2 free swag bags, like 2 free like shell, like the canvas bags. Gave me 2 of those for free.
That's awesome.
I'd bought some shells, but like, and I'd bought a bunch of shells off boss, but like it wasn't necessary. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to. He's like, no man, it's cool. Just take it. I'm like, are you sure? Like,
love that.
But
I love that.
I bought like a ton of coffee from Dirty Duck, like $100 and some worth from them, and they gave me some like free stuff.
Do you like their coffee? I've never tried it.
Oh, dude, I love it. You got to try it.
Okay, well I will. What do you like?
Get the Morningwood.
Coffee?
Yep, it's called Morningwood. Okay. It's called like it's called Morningwood. It's got like some hints of chocolate in it and stuff. It's really good. I really
is
like
it high caffeine or something other? Is that why they call it that?
It
got a wood duck on it?
It has a wood duck on it. Okay. I have a bag of it. I'm looking at a bag of it right now.
Is it medium, dark, light roast?
I think it's medium.
Medium? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I highly like it. My wife likes the cold brew in the snickerdoodle
okay,
bag. But yeah, man, like it's definitely like different after like meeting these guys. Like I'm ran into the guy who owns that like Agitator something company, Bluebird Waterfowl. Spoke to him for like 2 seconds because like I'd won a free Agitator through Facebook, and I was like, hey man, just want to say thanks for like giving this away and stuff, and like what you're doing and stuff, like trying to do some free giveaways and stuff through like social media and stuff. And he's like, oh man, no problem. And like we kind of stood there and chit chatted for a second. And a guy asked him about the product, and he goes, asked him, he owns like multiple of them. And I was like, dude, they work, which they do work. They put a lot of motion on the water and stuff for us where we can use spinners. Y'all can't.
On public ground.
On public ground, you can't. But yeah, they're pretty nice. I mean, it's kind of like foggy days are really nice because they throw a lot of noise and a lot of water motion. But like, I think like, heck, I got in talking to like some guy. He gave me like a free hat as I walked away. And, like, I mean, it was just like the most random stuff I'd get for free. And then My most expensive things just showed up the other day, which I highly recommend. Tyler talked to me. You guys were looking into something. I don't know if y'all bought ear protection yet, but
Oh, I need to.
I went with a set of Tetris. It cost me a ton of money, but I shot. So far, the only thing I've shot with them is a rifle. And I used to have a really bad habit of like when I'd hear the gun go off, I'd want to jump the scope and like try to look where the bullet was going. I felt like it was a lot easier to stay in the scope because I'm not hearing the gun go off very loud.
Huh.
It's hard. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I spent a ton of money on them, but I also worked a bunch of weddings and stuff, so I could buy them because I got tired. Like you train dogs, I got tired of the dummy launcher noise. That I feel like that's louder than a shotgun. That noise is awful. And you do that like 6 times in an evening, and your ears ring for like the next 2 hours. It's awful. But
No, I've thought about. I would like to, but every time I see the price of them, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do that.
that's the thing. Ugh. I tried to win a free one through Heartland Waterfowl, and I didn't. Sadly, damn it, Ronnie. I can't complain. I did win a free pair of 2 pairs of lacrosse boots, and lacrosse waders.
Very nice.
Yep, very nice.
Very nice.
So now I own 3 pairs of waders. So
You can't have enough. I mean, one's gonna fail. You got to have a backup.
sadly, my Sickas are the ones that fell, and I'm so pissed at them. But
How long? How long had you had them?
dude, they've failed every year. But the problem with them
Really?
is I'm 6'2", 6'3". They're not
Okay.
made for tall guys. In my opinion. Sicka
Well,
waders are
everything else they make is for tall people.
Yes,
Let
I
me
will-
tell you right
I will
now, their
agree.
pants do not fit. They
You-
fit my waist, but they're long. I've got to get every pair that I get hemmed up.
I will agree that their pants all run really long, but for some reason, they're stupid waders. And I asked them. I told the guy, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to end up buying a pair of shins if you don't make these in 2X tall." Well, we're considering it. We just don't know if we're going to. And I'm like, okay, that's enough for me. And while I was at NWTF, I walked in the booth and I was like, hey, I want a pair of shins. And I mean, the lacrosses, I just put them up in the shelf. They kind of like, as like, if someone needs a pair of waders, I have a pair they can wear. Because when we went to Arkansas this year, I took a boy that had never hunted before. It was the only person, it was a buddy of mine. Like, he could get off work. And I was like, hey, you want to go? He'd never been, like, the farthest I think he'd been out of the state was like Lexington. And I'm like, hey, you instead of going 3 hours from home, you want to go 12? He was like, sure, I don't care.
I still hate that I missed you, man. When you were here, I hate that I missed out.
We're going to be there for longer next year, and we're trying to come. We're trying to come the opening weekend. I'm going to read
The opening weekend.
the opening weekend of the second split as soon as we figure
Well,
out.
hey, how about you just come with me to South Arkansas and we'll hunt with the alligators?
Okay, I'll tell you this story real quick. I'll bring my pup, and if she gets ate by an alligator, I really won't be that mad. I don't have a video to show you.
Let me tell you right now, if I ever see an alligator eat a dog, that will be the last dog that alligator eats, and it'll probably be the last dog that every alligator in that area eats. I hate alligators.
My wife would enjoy hunting with you because she is fascinated by them. I think I'd be a little nervous. I don't know. I don't know if alligators would bother me as much as, dude, I don't do snakes. So
Snakes don't bother me near as much as alligators do.
Dude, no, snakes are worse. But no, my freaking pup. So like in the mornings, I've been doing drills with her, and like I have like a mow marsh set in the corner, and I told her to go place, and she was already sitting on it. Well, apparently I left to go to work. My wife leaves, and just like the pup's not running around her, like she's in place in the corner. She backs out of the garage and leaves.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately, I had a pair of my Shin Scout boots that I bought kind of low. Well, it didn't matter how low they had been, apparently. She chewed the front of those off. So
Oh, man.
yeah, so I was ready to murder her. She did that and then pulled a tool bag off a shelf and drug all the tools all over the garage. I'm like, out of all things,
I'll teach you to leave me on place.
I was like, I mean, she's honestly like a great dog. It's kind of interesting. This litter of pups, the last litter of pups I had, only one of the dogs hunted out. It's my yellow one I have. And you've seen pictures of her. You're like, you commented on the one picture, looks like she's not excited to be there. And she's honestly like, all my buddies are like, if someone could fix her and get a little more drive in her, which I don't know what, like, and she just doesn't have the drive that I want. I want the drive that my older female has, and it's just like she's like ready to rock and roll. Like she like watching the air, watching the sky. The yellow one's like, damn it, y'all shot a duck. Now I gotta go get it. I
Guess I'll
mean,
just sit here and take a nap.
she's like, she's gonna be the last dog to break. She's not gonna break. I mean, she's like I don't think you could get her to break. You could shoot one at 5 feet, and I don't think she'd break to go get it. I think she'd sit there and look at it. I think she'd be like, "Are you sure you don't want to walk over and pick it up?" Like, but no,
See, I've had both ends of that spectrum. Okay, with Hank, it was drive and energy, and he didn't know what to do with it, so he kind of sat there and vibrated, and sometimes he would whine and vibrate. And then we got Owen, and he's just like, I'll sit here. Do you just want me to sit here and be quiet? Okay, I'll do that. I'll just
yeah,
sit here and be quiet. And like he just that's what he does. And
yeah,
he's sitting over here laying down right now. He's asleep.
and that
And I'm like, y'all can have the drive. I just want one to be obedient and quiet. That's what I want.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, and luckily, like, Brandy, she doesn't break or anything, but she just like, she enjoys it. Like,
Yeah.
she's out there to enjoy it as much as we are. I think that one hunt, she had like 10 she picked up, and like, I was like stoked. And that hunt, like, started out with like, I told him, I was like, hey, like, we kind of, the place we went to hunt was frozen up. It had like 3 inches of ice on it, and I was like, I think if we put my boat in, I don't know if it's going to break through the ice. And I was like, if it don't break through the ice, then it's going to be setting on top of the ice, and this is going to be tricky. So we kind of opted to drive over and meet up with some other guys. I'm like, hey, I was like, dude, I want him to shoot. I was like, I took the boy that went to Arkansas with me. I was like, if you can let him shoot, I was like, he's probably not going to hit anything anyways. So it's going to be you guys shooting the stuff. He's like, yeah, I probably won't hit anything. He's like, I'll be lucky if I shoot at anything. And I was like, hey, I'll sit here behind you and stuff. And we kind of set up in a flooded little backwater. And I had ducks landing. It's one time this year, like I had a hand on a collar because there were ducks landing like 5 feet from us. And this is 5 minutes before shooting. And she's like ready to come off the stand for him. And I'm like, nope, just sit here. Keep your mouth shut. Like I'm like sitting there just, she doesn't whine no more because we fixed that on a hunt. I didn't know she had a whining problem till we field hunted.
Uh-huh.
And when you finish ducks at 10 yards, she was really starting to get a whining problem. And luckily, that sport dog has a bark mode in it, and it will pick up a whine. I cranked it up to about 9, and she about killed my buddy's ear because she whined one time and then yelped in his ear when it lit her up. But that fixed that problem. Since then, she really hasn't had a whining problem. It was kind of a mean way to do it, but I was real pissed. I was afraid she was about to ruin a hunt for a bunch of people, and I was just getting aggravated.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I feel like, man, that's a mean way to do that. But with dogs, it seems like they will learn from that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
And Tyler talks about the first time that he was trying to teach his Chesapeake to sit on the whistle, and he had him on a check cord, and he said that when the dog reached the end of his and when they hit the whistle and reached the end of the rope or whatever, like he hit the dog done this number because it didn't stop. And Tyler, like he's like, dude, he nearly jerked me on the ground. Like I was like my body hurt. He's like, both of us were done. Like we were done training. But he said, dude, that dog stopped on the whistle so good every time after that.
Yeah, that's where we're working the whistle right now with the pup. She's already gun conditioned. She's doing 80, 100-yard retrieves. Like we just need to work on just starting the hand signals and get that drive up a little bit and then go the force fetch. I think, yes. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I get so stressed with training dogs anymore. But okay, so I know you're a Dr. Pepper man in the morning, right? You're not a coffee guy.
I'm getting a little too hefty, so I'm trying not to drink any more Dr. Peppers or any sodas right now. So,
dude,
I will have a Diet Pepsi every now and again because that's what my wife keeps in the house. But right now, I'm trying to be no sodas. But yes, if I could drink soda whenever I want, I would have a lot of Dr. Pepper.
See, I don't get that. I don't get you guys in the pop, man. I'm a water guy. I am a sweet tea fanatic, and I don't. So your sweet tea, do you like it really, really sweet?
I like syrup.
Okay. Yes. So yeah. So So
I
that's
usually use the question of, do you like McDonald's sweet tea or do you not like McDonald's sweet
so
tea? Because I love it.
so my dad's family's all from Mississippi, from on the Gulfport. So like I've grown up and I'm used to like my sweet tea is sweet. Like
Yeah.
when my wife first started making for us, I'm like, yeah, you need to add like another cup of sugar. That's not gonna be sweet. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, just that's not sweet enough yet. Just gonna put like 3 cups in there and we're good. But yeah, so like okay, so like your sweet tea, sweet, that's good. We got to get you on coffee. I don't know.
I mean, I do coffee. And I did coffee almost every morning this year. But yeah, I do coffee now.
We need to get a custom because I'm a Yeti fanatic. A custom Yeti Pond Creek thermos. That's what I need. I need like
No,
a small.
I need to make one of those. I've got to make some hats. There's so many like
The
merch things that I've got in my head that I want to do, and I just like.
But merch sucks.
I
Let's go
can't.
and talk about this. Merch sucks. It is the worst. I've tried to explain to certain people that you don't want to get in a merch business. Walking around into any hunting show will show you the merch business isn't where you want to be because everyone has merch. There's companies that are just merch companies.
Yeah.
And you're not going to compete with them. Like you have like Combat Waterfowl, East Coast Waterfowl, Hurricane Waterfowl, I think. All 3 of them have like the graphic T-shirts and stuff. I'm like, there's only so much you can do before you start copying people.
Yeah, well, I mean, back down south, that's how they started was hats, and now they've. Have you ever checked out their stuff? I love
I think
back
I've
down.
seen them. I seen them at NWTF, but I didn't know much
Yeah,
about them.
they're from Lindale, Texas, which is kind of East Texas, getting closer to Central. But uh, I really like their stuff. They've got a cool look. I mean, I grew up in Texarkana, which is pretty much East Texas too. So
Yeah.
they have a little bit of home feel to me.
Oh yeah, I'll check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, merch sucks, but I do want a wax canvas hat. I've become obsessed with them.
Dude, that's all that I wear
My
until
wife.
it gets super hot. Once it gets hot, oh my gosh, it's like wearing a helmet, a sweaty helmet.
Yeah. So I have this one, and then I have one of the Rixie canvas hats.
Nice.
I took and waxed it myself. So
That's cool.
it turned out pretty nice. Yeah, they make this. I forget what it's called. Olive? Nope, that's not right. And there goes the other light.
There's your other light.
Yeah. Hold on 2 seconds.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, okay. See, it makes it all orange. That's why I hate using
I
those
was about to say
lights.
you changed something. Something changed.
It's color tone, and I just don't feel like fighting a camera to change it. That's what happens when you design your own house, and you should put white light bulbs in, and you don't. So I have like white. Come up and shoot a black duck, and I'll show you. Like the lighting in here is all weird.
What is the hat that you have on? Is that
That's a Dr. Duck
Dr.
one.
Duck?
Yeah, it's a Dr. Duck one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite tell. I thought that's what it was. At first, it looked like back down south, but I was like, no, I think it's the Dr. Duck.
I have this one, and I have the my Rixie one hanging up. I wear all the time.
Which I mean, I like Dr. Duck. When I listen to their podcast, their accent reminds me of home because it's like that East Texas accent. So like I recognize when I hear them, it's like they're from around me. I can tell they're from around me.
No, so one of the best videos out from this past hunting season is the one with Hunter, which is the guy from Arkansas that hunts with them all the time. And Helms, yeah. It's the one where he's unzipping his his like 3/4 zip like base layer, and he's like, you gotta let that turbo breathe. And then like the next cut scene is they got beat to the hole. Like he didn't outrun anybody, so I was like, this is hilarious. I was like, why did no one just like? I wanted to ask him so bad, be like, so the turbo just didn't work out too well, did
it? I've met Hunter one time, and we just pretty much said hello to each other. But
yeah. I mean, they seem like very, those guys are pretty funny. So what is? We'll go a couple ways here with this question because we know you're a picky eater. What is your go-to meal? Do you have like a traditional meal before a competition?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A. Yes. Yeah. If I can get to Chick-fil-A beforehand, and I don't know why. None of it was superstitious until the day that I won World Cut Down because Tyler and his wife were driving me to Delta that day. I drove the day before; they were driving me the next that day, and I said, "Hey, I want Chick-fil-A because that's normally like I get it before I go out of town to a contest. It's usually what happens." So I told him I was like, "I want Chick-fil-A today. Please take me to Chick-fil-A." So since then, it's like, okay, maybe I need to be eating the Lord's food before I go to a contest.
Better hope you don't have a contest on Sunday because you ain't getting that chicken.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Sundays just aren't your day. You're like, I just won't compete on Sundays.
That's right. It's not. It's against my religion.
I don't identify this day as Sunday. Can you open up, please? Okay. So then I know you guys talk all the time about after your hunt, where you guys going to eat.
I guess it depends on if we kill something.
Well, you guys talk all the time about going to Cracker Barrel, which is the most random place ever in my mind. That's where you're going to
Really?
go. Oh yeah.
Not here. Like, for some reason, Cracker Barrel. It's like that old Southern look and feel of Cracker Barrel. It's like when they've got the fire going and everything. It's like I don't know. There's something about it. So we always say, like, if you've listened to the podcast, we always say killers get Cracker Barrel. So when we kill them, we feel like we should go to Cracker Barrel. And if we don't kill them, it's like, well, I mean, we didn't kill them. We don't deserve Cracker Barrel today. So I guess we're going to the Waffle House.
See, it's another one I've never. So for us, it's a we're going to Tudors. It's a
I don't even know what that is.
so you don't have them out there. They're only in West Virginia. It's
Okay.
homemade biscuits.
Homemade biscuits. Okay.
So like it's homemade biscuits. So you get like all the biscuits are like West Virginia themed. So there's like a Mountaineer, a Duke, a Thundering Herd, and they're like hash brown. There's a Minor. Like they're freaking delicious. Like if you're ever passing through the state, you got to try to find a Tudors and get it. They close at 2:00, so you got to be done by 2:00 so you can get them. But I think we're either going there or maybe a pizza place.
Well, I ain't going to no pizza place.
See, that's the thing. Like
I'm not celebrating with pizza.
where
Now, if we don't kill them, you run me through McDonald's, let me get my sausage biscuit, and then we can go to your pizza.
So okay, you're a picky eater because we've heard some hilarious stories, which people need to go listen to y'all's podcast about when you're traveling for competition and you stay at people's houses and you don't want to eat certain stuff, which is hilarious. But like, what? So if you're going to, because Waffle House and Cracker Barrel are two different places completely. I don't even know.
And I get the same thing at both.
I was about to say, do they even have the same thing on the menu? Is it chicken tenders?
Bacon biscuits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bacon biscuits.
I'm getting the same thing at both, but the bacon at Cracker Barrel is way better than that skinny little stuff that you get at Waffle House that's just microwave bacon.
I thought personally, I thought Waffle House was a place you went to when you were drunk at like 2 a.m.
I mean, I don't go to Waffle House very much, but
I thought that's where the hangout place was. Just listening to other podcasts.
Listen, now we went to a Waffle House in St. Louis because we were at Dive Bomb one time, and it was me and Tyler and our wives, and we had been to Top Golf, and we like shut Top Golf down, and it was like 1:00 in the morning. So we were like, well, where can we get some food? We're like, well, there's Waffle House. Well, we know Waffle House is going to be open, so let's go to Waffle House. We showed up, and I don't know if there had been a wedding or what, but we were the worst dressed people in that Waffle House. Like there were people suit and tie and dresses at 1:00 in the morning in the Waffle House, and we were like, "Can we come into this Waffle House? We're underdressed. What's going on here?"
Maybe
we were so confused.
Maybe the reception was better.
It was the nicest Waffle House I've ever been in.
Yeah. The way you just said that sounded so redneck. Okay, so okay, let's go to your snack. Your snack while duck hunting. What's your snack going to be?
So if I get to like have whatever snacks I want, because normally when I go to snacks, it's like whatever I've got in the pantry, I'm just going to throw it in here. But if I'm like, say when I go to DeWitt and I take what I want, I'm going to have a Pop-Tart, brown sugar cinnamon, and I'm going to have peanut butter crackers, peanut M&Ms, Snickers, and that's probably it. Beef jerky. I'll have beef jerky in there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I got in a real bad habit last season there towards the end of my snacks were a cigar and two monsters, or maybe even two cigars sometimes and two monsters. Like, I think the last, like, I hunted the last 5 days of the season, and I literally told my wife, I was like, I think I might have smoker's lung from cigars. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I feel like I've smoked because, like, we did it the first day. Like, I killed a monster, smoked a cigar, cracked that other monster, and we killed like 10 ducks. And I was like, hey, looks like I got to stop at the gas station on the way home. Looks like we're killing this for the next few days. And it just didn't really work out any of the next days. But it was fun. I mean, it was one of those where I was like, like maybe this tradition will hold true. Maybe superstition. It did not.
I don't ever take energy drinks to the blind. Now there's times that like if I'm driving and it's been one of those rough public mornings where we've been out there since way before we should have and we stayed way longer than we should have and I'm driving home and I'm like kind of doing the head nod thing. Sunflower seeds and energy drink will keep you awake a long dadgum time. It's dang near impossible to fall asleep chewing sunflower seeds.
That's my travel is sunflower seeds and
Yep.
is a monster. See, like monster, but I don't get like I drink the mocha monsters and because they're like cold coffees. I don't really get any energy from them. It just tastes like a cold coffee to me.
I've never had that, but Barrett sent me a video about like some of the stuff that's in a monster
I
because
don't
I
want to see
like
it.
monster too.
I don't want to
And
see
then
it.
after watching that video, I was like, yeah, I'm never gonna have one again.
Yeah, I don't want to see the video because I like mocha monsters. And that usually
You,
the
you
mocha.
do want to see it or you
No,
don't
I
want to
don't
see
want
it?
to see it. It'll
Okay, I
probably help
won't
my.
send it to you then.
It'll probably help my bank account if I see it. But it's normally when I do that is when I don't have like coffee. Um, and like when I travel, like when we traveled down there, I took a jet boil and stuff to like be able to make coffee while I was there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because I like coffee. I like drinking. I like drinking coffee. Like it's just part of it. Like it's part of that thing. Like everyone's got to have their duck calls on them, whether you're gonna blow them or not. You got to have them with you.
You feel negative if you don't have it.
Yeah, you got to have the coffee, duck calls, shotgun. I mean, those are the three things you got to have. Yeah, I mean that's about. I can't think of any other questions I have. Those were kind of my questions.
I like them. They're good questions.
I mean, we're trying to find out a little bit about Pond Creek duck calls. The guy, the man, Forrest.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm not gonna give you questions.
no, I know you're not because I mean, uh, but no, I think we've done like I mean this has been like an hour and 42 minutes if I'm reading this thing right. Yeah, I think it has been. Which is probably long enough. It'd make I don't even know what time it is here. My wife is. I haven't seen her come out of my one son's room. I haven't seen my other son come out of our bedroom. So I'm assuming she's asleep with one son in that bed, and then in the other room, my son's asleep in there. I'm about to find out.
Well, I know that my kids were up a lot later than normal because I heard them a little bit ago, but it has gotten quieter. So I'm hoping that when I go downstairs, the two boys will be asleep. That would be fabulous.
So ours are one's 15 months, and the other one's about to be 4, and we have hit this point where I don't know what happened, but the little one, man, that second one, I don't know. People don't warn you about that second one, dude. He is a firecracker. He's meaner than a hornet, and he is like go all night long. I was like, didn't our son used to go to bed at 7:30? She goes, yes. I was like, what the hell has happened that we're now going to bed at 10? I was like, where did this? She's like, I don't know. I was like, it's that kid. He's just not sleeping. I'm like, put him on a treadmill. Like I'm ready to buy a treadmill and like have the kid run a mile before he goes to bed or something. I don't know.
See, my first one is he's very level, everything, he's pretty calm, all that, but he did not sleep. Like he did not nap, he did not sleep. He was 2 years old before he finally slept through the night. So when we had the second one, we were just like, please just sleep. Please just let this kid sleep. The second one sleeps, but when he's awake, He doesn't know where middle is. He's either the best angel kid you've ever had, or he's like, I'm ready to punt you through the window if you don't start acting right.
Yes, that is flat out. That is ours. And then it makes the other one be horrible, and then you're just like mad at both of them, and it's like, son of a, oh gosh.
But he sleeps. So we had both kids that sleep. So it's like, yes, once they go to bed, yes, it might take us an hour and a half to get them in the bed, but they're in bed.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're I don't know. I think actually, so I think when the little one gets out of the crib and he gets to start sleeping in a big bed, I think it'll be so much better. Because I
Yeah.
think that's the problem now. He'd rather sleep on the big bed, and the only way she'll let him sleep on the big bed is if she sleeps in there with him.
Gotcha.
So I'm about to just
Gotcha.
take the bed off and put it on the floor like we did with the other one.
Yeah, put the mattress on the floor, sleep there.
Yep.
If you fall off, crawl back on.
Yep, it's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, we did that with both.
Yeah, I mean, when we got the one to move out of his bed, like we were a couple months out from having the other one, and we were like, "Hey, you want to just like sleep in this other bedroom, that this complete opposite room you slept in, and we're gonna just put you on this." Dude, he was all about it, and he like just did it. It was like
Nice.
easy. But yeah, now we're in that rough spot. We just come off being sick, and now just getting everybody back in a rhythm. But
You'll
Forrest,
get there.
yeah. But Forrest, thank you so much for being on here tonight. Everybody needs to go check out Pond Creek. I assume you're still got books open. Your books are always open, right? Yeah, they're always open.
They're advertised as closed right now, but I will still take orders if people come to me wanting a duck call.
They're always open.
Right now, you're looking at September.
Well, that's fine. Well, heck, I think I'm like September on the list. So, like, yeah, you might as well go and get a call. I mean, you can make them through the rest of the year. Are you gonna do any turkey hunting? Since you just kind of learned about turkey hunting a little bit.
I don't turkey hunt, but I'm getting more interested to where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll try it. If I miraculously end up going this year, it'll be one day to just be like with a buddy and be like, oh, okay, this is what y'all like so much. Maybe I'll try it next year.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident that next year I am going to give it a shot of like, okay, I'm actually going to give this a fair shot, see what it's about, because I want to be in the woods more right now. I still want to fish, but there's part of me that's like, I want to be in the trees. I want to be in the trees. I want to be walking around. I want to be chasing something. So I've talked with enough turkey hunters now that they're trying.
Dude,
I'm almost ready to go.
It is turkey hunting is the reason why I started duck hunting, because like someone explained turkey hunting to me duck hunting to me as it's turkey hunting, but you can be loud and talk. Where turkey hunting, you kind of got to be a little more quiet and stuff, and you're moving a little more. Where duck hunting, you kind of just stay in one spot and you can be as loud as you want. They'll eventually show up. Sometimes they don't show up, and you can be loud.
One day.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely. I definitely think you'd enjoy it.
I know, yeah, and that's another reason I've avoided it is like because in the past I was fishing a lot by this time. And this year I haven't fished but a couple times, and I don't have a boat to fish out of right now, so I have nothing else to do. So it's kind of like maybe I'll go try to turkey hunt. Maybe I'll just practice training dog or just train dogs, or still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But
yeah,
we've got our season opens on the 15th, so we've still got 11 days before our season opens.
Yeah, you can learn a mouth call in that amount of time. You're good enough. You could.
Who knows? Never
Yeah.
tried.
I mean, it's definitely. I
Is
enjoy
it easier or harder than blowing a duck call?
Well, first off, I can't blow a duck call still, so I'm gonna say it's easier. It's harder. I mean, it's way easier. It is
Than a duck call?
Oh yes. I mean, it's just don't ever watch Bo Brooks from Do It, or you'll like.
Yeah.
I
I don't know anything about it, so it's kind of like duck calling for me, because I can listen to the really good callers and distinguish, like, I hear this, I hear that, blah blah blah. I can distinguish notes. Somebody needs to change a battery. Is that you or me?
That's me.
Okay.
Here, I'll do
Can you
this.
still hear me? We
Yeah,
good?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Bo, like when it comes to turkey calling, I'm like, I don't know if that's good or it sounds like a turkey to me. But this other guy who I've never heard in my life before either, they sound like a turkey to me too. So I can't distinguish good and bad because I'm that ignorant to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot different personally. I I struggle with doing all the fancy stuff, but I can do it good enough that I can kill birds.
Duck or turkey?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Both. I mean, it's definitely. I think the most difficult part about turkey hunting is learning how to either be loud or not loud when you're calling.
Okay.
It's definitely definitely has a little more precision that comes to it.
Okay. All right.
Um, yeah, so it's just different. To me, it's a little more. You have to be a little more precise in your calling versus because you're calling the one bird who
Right.
he's trying to find everything wrong because you're flipping nature. In
Mhm.
nature, a turkey hits the ground, he gobbles, 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 and all the hens come to him. You're trying to flip the script where you're going to make him come to you, which is not normal. First off, so that's where like a lot of guys are like, oh, we don't use decoys because as soon as they see a decoy, they'll just stop.
Huh.
So yeah, it's definitely different. You would enjoy it. I recommend it.
I probably would.
Um, but man, I think can't thank you enough. We'll let you get off here and let you enjoy the rest of your evening. It's 10 o'clock there. I think if I'm reading this right, y'all's central. Yeah, y'all central. 10 o'clock, something like
Yeah.
that.
I'm not looking at time, but yeah, thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted you on here because we wanted to talk about how where the name came from. It came from you, but where did you guys get it from? Y'all got it from someone else, Colton.
Colton Thompson.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just something to really think about. Is enjoying the time out there more than just the killing.
Mhm.
So, man, I can't thank you enough. We'll head on out of here, and I'll catch you later.
All right, man. You have a good night.
You too.